Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams Prabhuji.
Can you see my screen?
No Prabhuji.
No Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, no Prabhuji. Pranams Prabhuji.
No. Yeah, now let me see.
And now we can see Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah, now you can see it, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. We'll start with Mangalacharan prayers. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadate Padandikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत श्री राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I have great pleasure to welcome all of you for today's session of Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit. We continue to discuss threat against iskcon. So this is the first time that we are coming across such a theme in Prabhupada's Leelamrit. From the beginning, Srila Prabhupada was struggling, that we know. He was born in a wonderful Vaishnava family. His father guided him, trained him, encouraged him to become a nice Vaishnava. And then he met his Guru, and the Guru encouraged him to go abroad and preach. And Srila Prabhupada by the time had a family, had children, had responsibilities, had a business. And he was trying to grow the business simultaneously to become wealthy so that he can help his Guru and Gaudiya Math to expand their preaching activities. Srila Prabhupada, right from the beginning, was not a materialistic person, even though he appeared to be one. But his intention was somehow to use the wealth to help the movement, Krishna consciousness, to grow. And then, of course, he struggled a lot. His business was growing, but then eventually the business failed. And Srila Prabhupada, by the time he left his family also, and he was trying to preach within India, especially he made a very great effort in Jhansi, but Jhansi also he failed. And then he was trying to write, edit, and print Back to Godhead magazines, which he would try to distribute. Whatever price people would pay, he would accept it so that the publication can go on. But that also eventually failed. His Jhansi effort failed, and his business was completely finished. And then he was a sannyasi in Vrindavan, and he was translating Srimad Bhagavatam. And eventually he got the first canto printed in 3 volumes. And by the time the books were ready, he had the confidence to go to the West. He always thought he cannot do the preaching, but Srimad Bhagavatam will do the preaching. So he took the books, he went to America at the ripe old age of 70. With no money on himself, on a cargo ship he went, by the mercy of Sumati Murarji of Scindia Steamship Company. And then he reached Boston, and then he went to Butler, Pennsylvania, and eventually moved to New York. And then alone he struggled and struggled, and eventually he got some devotees in the form of hippies. And these hippies very quickly transformed, and Prabhupada's kirtan started attracting people. And then the devotees of Prabhupada themselves became capable of bringing more and more devotees, especially within the hippie community. He was extremely successful. And then the movement simply started growing like wildfire. And then it expanded to San Francisco. A similar attempt was made, a similar hippie colony. Again, such a amazing response. Prabhupada installed the deities there first time, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and it became a full-time temple. Then he had a Rath Yatra there, which was also extremely successful. Then Prabhupada liked this model. He wanted to replicate it everywhere. He instructed devotees to go and open temples in Los Angeles, Boston, and other places. Montreal already had a temple. And then Srila Prabhupada sent 3 couples to London to try and open a temple there. And like that, the movement is expanding. All along, there was tremendous success. Of course, tremendous pressure was also there on Prabhupada because a growing number of neophyte devotees, they need to be guided properly. And they're coming from such a wild background. They are accustomed to breaking all the regulative principles. And they did not have much of a concept of God. And loving God was a far cry. But Prabhupada was still successful in doing that. Simultaneously, he was focusing on his books and preaching these devotees and trying to expand also. So suddenly now we come across this threat against iskcon. So we have already discussed some of these threats, what Prabhupada perceived. Do you recollect any 1 or 2 of them, which we have discussed already? Devotees, you can unmute and speak. Some of the threats that was
Hare
already.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The first threat is the groupism, Prabhuji.
Yes. Can you
Groupism.
elaborate a little more?
That is in between in iskcon only there will be group like guru regarding their guru Prabhuji, Diksha gurus. They'll create groups and all, and then that groupism, Prabhuji.
No, that was not yet there because Prabhupada was the only initiating guru at that time. There were no other gurus. There was only Prabhupada. So the threats that Prabhupada observed at that time were different. What Prabhupada saw, for example, he was at that time in Los Angeles temple, and he saw one devotee who had cleaned his quarters had kept his picture upside down. Prabhupada's pictures are kept in all temples because in the absence of Prabhupada, devotees will feel inspired to see his picture. And wherever Prabhupada sits, the picture is kept. It is kept on his bed. It is kept on the place where he translates. It is kept at the place where he will take prasadam. Like that, to remind them of Prabhupada would sit here and do this particular activity, like that. This picture, when Prabhupada came from a morning walk, he saw it was standing upside down. So obviously the person who cleaned the room was a devotee. But he had been careless. Even if he had not done it on purpose, it is not that he has done it on purpose, but he has been careless, that he did not even notice the picture that is keeping there, Prabhupada's picture, and it is upside down. So that was one. And secondly, the books. Books came from Boston to Los Angeles for Prabhupada to inspect. And the book said the author's name as A.C. Bhakti Vedanta. What was missing? Can anyone tell?
His Divine Grace.
Prabhuji Swami.
Yes. His divine grace in the beginning and Swami Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Prabhupada. That was also missing. Prabhupada was shocked and he became very angry. He shouted, "What is happening?" Like that. He gave a huge dressing down to the people. Of course, it was done by Boston and he's in Los Angeles. But the Los Angeles devotees relayed everything to Boston also. One more book came, and in this book also, instead of founder Acharya, it simply mentioned Acharya. The word founder was missing. Founder Acharya of iskcon. the word founder was missing. Once again, Prabhupada threw this very angry tantrum at the people, and they all really became scared, because one thing they knew. What was that? If the Guru is displeased, your spiritual life is finished. No more spiritual life. And if Guru is pleased, then that means very good for your spiritual life. You will progress. So when they saw Prabhupada so angry, the disciples realized their spiritual life is at stake. And the matter traveled everywhere. People got the message. But then Prabhupada was wondering why all this is happening. And then Prabhupada noticed that a few more things we have already discussed. One was that Nandarani was a senior devotee in Los Angeles temple. In fact, she was the founder of the temple along with her husband Dayananda. When Prabhupada went to India, with great difficulty, they opened this temple. But now the temple management is with other devotees, and she's a senior devotee who is preaching and bringing new devotees to the temple. But she says, when Prabhupada says, Nandarani, are you chanting 60 rounds daily? Actually, Prabhupada could have asked a newly joined person, but Prabhupada asked the most senior person in the temple, are you chanting 16 rounds daily? And what did she reply? I am trying, Prabhupada. Prabhupada eyebrows went up. He asked, why? She said, actually, after my services are over, if I have time, I try to chant. I am not always able to complete my 16 rounds. What she did not say was, the temple management has instructed me that if you are doing your services nicely and that leaves no time for chanting, it is all right if you don't chant. This was never instructed by Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, of course, she did not mention it, but Prabhupada knew, and he was very upset that people were violating even his instructions without even mentioning to him, asking him if it is okay. That means Guru is being minimized. They think whatever Prabhupada might say, okay, but we have to be practical also. Prabhupada is giving some philosophy, but we are running the temple. As administrators, we have to be more practical. So this kind of thinking is creeping in, and Prabhupada notices that, and he is very upset. Then one more incident was, Prabhupada asked in one Bhagavatam class, can anyone say about Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? All the men kept silent, all the women kept silent. Only one lady, very shyly, she said, I think I read this name somewhere. Again, Prabhupada blew his head. He said, what is going on? He looked at the men and said, you men, if you don't read the books, then you cannot become a Brahmana. And how can you make your wives into devotees? If you are not a Brahmana, your wives cannot become nice devotees. And you will never attain the purity which is needed to preach Mahaprabhu's message. So Mahaprabhu's message preaching does not depend on how nicely, how articulately you talk and present the subject matter, or how nicely you are dressed, or how handsome you look, how charming a personality you have, how many jokes you crack in your lecture. These are not the criteria. Only criteria is the purity. And you will get the purity only by reading my literature and improving your chanting, minimum 16 rounds per day. So Prabhupada emphasized that. So people are not reading. So Prabhupada is very upset. So many signs are seen. Prabhupada sitting in LA is observing that dilution is taking place. What is being diluted? The position of Guru is being diluted. People are becoming independent. See, now we are not discussing this. We are, in one sense, discussing history, but it is for our lessons. So please don't disconnect yourself from the subject matter what we are discussing now. We are all very much part of this discussion, what's going on here. It is our spiritual life which is involved in these discussions. If we listen carefully and we take the lessons, then our spiritual lives can transform. Otherwise, please don't take it for granted that our spiritual life is safe. Anytime we allow other influences to enter into our spiritual life and we become sort of independent, I can decide, I am intelligent, I am a logical thinking person, I know what I should do, what I should not do. Overall philosophy is there, but I have to be practical. In my life, I will have to decide what I should do, what I should not do. Same way in my preaching also, I will customize my preaching and I am independent. I can modify the package as it suits the audience. So these kind of thoughts can come and take over our life. And unless we are as pure as Prabhupada, like Prabhupada says, an Acharya is empowered by Krishna to make modifications based on time, place, and circumstances. But we should not come under the same illusion that I am also an Acharya and I can modify depending on time, place. Oh, Prabhupada did that. I can also do something. Prabhupada reduced from 64 malas to 16 malas. I can reduce from 16 to 4 malas. So the moment we minimize the Guru's position and we put ourselves in his shoes and think we have become big, then we are in serious trouble. So Prabhupada is giving those lessons now. So can anyone answer by thinking why Prabhupada is getting angry to see these things? Prabhupada is a pure devotee, we say. Prabhupada is an associate of Lord Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we say. He is a pure Vaishnava from birth, we say. And he has no ego, rather, he has no false ego. He has no desire for name, fame, power, position, and respect. He is unselfishly propagating the message of Mahaprabhu as a service to his Guru Maharaj. If such is the case, why would anyone become angry? So I would like to hear from you.
Hare Krishna,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandat pranams, Prabhuji. I think, Prabhuji, like only if we please Guru and serve Guru properly, we can reach Krishna. Krishna will be pleased only if Guru is pleased. So if they are not able to, it's not for the sake of Prabhupada, but for taking them back to Godhead, they have to follow the Guru. Say they have to take the instructions properly and do it. That is what Prabhupada might be thinking, I feel, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Very nice answer. Other
Hare Krishna.
devotees want to add anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Out of compassion, like a father who chastises the children, he does, Prabhuji, for our own well-being, for our spiritual
Very,
upliftment.
very right. Very right. Others?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, may I try, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, Prabhupada knows the bitter truth of this material world, and he wants his children to be very safe. And it is a very responsible. He's being very responsible towards his children, Prabhuji, to take them back home, back to God.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you. All of you said the right answers. Srila Prabhupada is on the transcendental platform. We should never try to bring him down to the material platform. Sometimes Krishna appears to be angry. Sometimes a pure devotee appears to be angry. But we should not try to evaluate them on the basis of our own inner perceptions. We are very much in the material world. We are very much influenced by the three modes of material nature. But a person on the platform of transcendence who is beyond the three modes, they are never subject to the modes, the mode of passion or mode of ignorance doesn't touch them. So there is nothing like a false ego in them. So very nicely you have all understood. Thank you very much. I would like to add one more thing here, which I have also shared with you during our Bhakti Vriksha classes, which is when we don't understand the behavior of a Vaishnava, of an exalted Vaishnava, if we don't understand their behavior, how we should protect ourselves against offense? Please tell me. In this case, you could answer it, you could sort of rationalize and find a good answer, and you realize that Prabhupada is not really angry. he is feigning anger, or his anger is on the transcendental plane, which is something very different from anger on the material plane. But supposing you face a situation where you are not able to understand the behavior of an exalted Vaishnava, either in the books you read like Bhagavatam, etc., or you see a model Vaishnava whose behavior sometimes you are unable to understand, how you should deal with such a situation.
Prabhuji, by all means, we should see the hand of Krishna in everything, every situation, Prabhuji. Like whatever, if any Vaishnava, if we feel that they are being rude or being, we are rejected, it is for ultimately for our good, because Vaishnava cannot do that. So God is helping us for our progress indirectly. So we should think in that way, Prabhuji. Whatever is very good for spiritual growth, for our growth, we should think in that way.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Exactly. So this is something that you should note it down. Benefit of doubt in any relationship, for that matter. Supposing you have a good friend, but sometimes the behavior of your friend appears strange to you. You feel that my friend is growing distant, my friend is disliking me or insulting me. If such a situation comes, if you want to save the friendship, you should first give the benefit of doubt. If you have a tendency to immediately blame the other person for a certain behavior, then you are creating a wall, and that wall may become very difficult to break. You may continue to harbor an idea that this friend is growing distant from me, this friend doesn't really care for me, or maybe this person was never a friend. I wrongly assumed that he or she was a friend. I realized that they don't really care for me, they're indifferent to me, like that. But if you give the benefit of doubt that there is something that I don't understand, there is an explanation for this, which I still don't have, but I should not jump to any conclusions. That is called giving the benefit of doubt. This is the habit we should develop so that we can preserve our trust in other people. See, the more the number of people we trust in our life, the more joyful our life will become. And the more the people we distrust, and we always question their actions, question their behavior, and we always find reasons to avoid them, then we will never have a good circle of friends. So this tendency to find fault, or the tendency to give the benefit of doubt, this is a kind of a make or break situation. If we learn to give the benefit of doubt, we can save many of our relationships. Right? Any of you have read Shakespeare's drama Othello? Anybody heard of this? Very, very famous drama where...
We had it in our syllabus, Prabhuji, long back, but I have forgotten very soon.
Okay, see, there the hero marries a very beautiful princess, and the hero is a general, very powerful general. I think I'm naming the correct title. I don't know whether it is Othello or I think it is Othello only. Yeah. And this hero, she loves him. It's a love marriage. She's very beautiful. But this hero is not beautiful because he has met so many wars he has fought and his face has been disfigured. So he looks actually ugly. And this girl was loved by other men, but she was never interested in them. She very much loved this man and she wanted to marry him, and she married him also. But these envious people, they wanted to destroy this marriage. Actually, they both were madly in love with each other. It was a very happy marriage, but slowly, they sowed doubts in the mind of Othello that this girl is in a serious relationship with another man. She is cheating upon you, and they will do some simple tricks that, like, for example, the kerchief of the lady was found in the possession of the man whom she is supposed to marry. They simply stole it. So, like that, say, they created situations that slowly fed on the doubts of the husband. Eventually, the husband, with his own hand, murdered his wife, strangulated her. She did not even understand what is going on. Why my husband is killing me? We were so much in love with each other. What has gone wrong? She doesn't even understand. But she gets killed. So that slowly, his faith in his wife was being destroyed systematically. So the problem here is the benefit of the doubt. We should, when there is a great personality like Srila Prabhupada or a very senior Vaishnava, see, for example, if we take Mahabharata itself, sometimes people make a hero out of Karna. And they even cast doubts about Pandavas. Oh, even Yudhishthira Maharaj, he lied. And Bhima killed Duryodhana by hitting below the belt. They find faults like that. And they say, no, it's not. And even Lord Ram, he banished his wife. How can he do that? It is very wrong. Knowing that she is sinless, why did he banish her? That means he's assuming power over his wife. Where is the equality? So many things. So even though he's God, so if he's God and if he's doing something that appears wrong to me, then should I say God is wrong or he's not God? There are so many scriptures, so many saintly persons appreciate him, praise him. If I don't understand a particular behavior on him, then I should try to understand by going to an acharya and asking for answers. I should ask as many times as it is necessary till my doubts are removed. Whereas doubting God or doubting a pure devotee can destroy my spiritual life. So we have to be very, very careful. So one nice way is giving the benefit of doubt. Say, for example, I heard this from a very senior preacher. The preacher said, for example, today for this class, if I came 10 minutes late, I am paraphrasing whatever he said. I am 10 minutes late. Some of you may think, look at this rascal. He has called all of us for this meeting, and so many of us have stopped our services, very important work, and we are coming and sitting here waiting for him. But this fellow thinks he's too big and he cannot even come on time. He's wasting the time of so many people. Maybe he overslept after he must have had a heavy lunch and he must have dozed off, or he's simply gossiping with somebody, wasting time and simply neglecting us. You can think like that. Or you can think, oh, this Prabhuji, some very important engagement must have come unexpectedly. Maybe someone came to him with some serious problems and he had to discuss that. So that is holding him up. Prabhuji is already having a tight schedule. Maybe something happened that is keeping him. If you think like that. So he says, two ways of thinking. One way of thinking will make you more and more angry with me. Another way of thinking will keep you pacified. You will, Prabhuji will come. It's all right. He will definitely come, or he will send a message. He must have good reasons for not coming. So one person thinks he has good reasons for not coming. He doesn't know the reason, but he thinks he has good reasons for not coming. Another person, he also doesn't know the reasons, but he's jumping to a conclusion. He's deliberately keeping us waiting. He thinks he's a big man. See the difference? Both the people don't know the reason why he is late. But one person, anger is building up. Maybe he's losing trust in this teacher. He's losing faith in this teacher. He thinks the speaker is only speaking through his mouth, but he's not really a serious devotee like that. So these are the very important clues for devotees, aspiring devotees like us, that we don't fall down. We should always, great souls, we should never try to evaluate them negatively. We cannot understand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, a pure Vaishnavas Kriya Mudra Vijnana Bujay. The activities of a senior advanced devotee, you cannot understand. We cannot understand. Like Vamsidas Babaji, he had deities of Gaurnithai. Sometimes he would tie their legs with a rope and he will drag them on the street, dusty street, and he will dip them into the water tank and keep them holding as a punishment. Why did you not do this properly? So he will punish them. So who can understand? So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told his disciples, don't go to Vamsidas Babaji. He is such an exalted soul, you cannot understand his behavior and you will commit offenses to his lotus feet. So same way with Prabhupada, when I say Prabhupada was angry, I will say he was angry, but you should understand. You shouldn't, oh, Prabhupada is also getting angry. Oh, he's also like us only. You should not, because I am giving you this caveat. Now, I will not go on telling everything, but you should know, we are dealing with a pure devotee. When I say he is angry, you should take it with a pinch of salt. As some of you very correctly said, he's doing it out of compassion. He really cares for us. Today morning in iskcon Chennai, we had a Bhagavatam class where Prabhupada was talking, Prabhupada's lecture. He was talking from Prahlad's prayers. And there he said, yes, people who are not Krishna conscious, we will call them fools and rascals. And these words were not manufactured by us. These words are used by Lord Krishna himself. Avajananti ma mudha, manushim tanumashritam. So they are fools. Krishna is saying in his own words. Or then Krishna is also saying, Maya aparita jnana asuram bhavamashrita. He is talking about non-devotees. There are some people who will never come to me. Who are they? Naradhama. Rascals. The most fallen people. They will not come to me. Na prapadyante naradhama. Maya apahurta jnana asuram bhavamas. Like that, Krishna is using very strong words to describe people who don't surrender to him. Very strong words. Prabhupada says, Krishna uses these words. Why I will not use? I will say again and again, they are fools and rascals if they don't surrender to Krishna. So like that. So as you very correctly said, he's doing out of compassion. And also, he's not an ordinary man. He is creating the institution for the next 10,000 years. Let us not forget. iskcon is a movement for the next 10,000 years. Now tell me, can you remember any institution that has survived 100 years? How many are there? Like we in State Bank of India, I retired from that bank. We say ours is a 200-year-old bank, like that, very proudly. But that you have to start from Bank of Bengal, Bank of Madras, Bank of Bombay. Then they were merged and then it became Imperial Bank of India. And further post-independence, it was retitled as State Bank of India. But still we want to count everything and say we are at 200. Even after counting everything, it is barely 200 years. So institutions don't last very long. Very big empires like Roman Empire or Greek Empire or Mesopotamian Empire, they all did not last maybe 1,000 years. Hardly any empire or institution or philosophy has survived 10,000 years. And here is Srila Prabhupada. In this 20th century, trying to create an institution, because in this Kali Yuga, increasingly the lifespan is becoming shorter. Lifespan of not only people, but everything. Lifespan of a philosophy also is very short. It is always challenged by people and things go. See, Christianity, it is not the same Christianity which Jesus Christ propounded, or Islam, or Hinduism. Everything is getting weaker, diluted. Original philosophy is lost. So what about iskcon? 10,000 years. So, and one man is responsible for everything about iskcon. He has to write the scriptures, which will be the law books for the next 10,000 years. And he has to create the institutions which will support this philosophy for 10,000 years. And he has to create devotees who have the purity with which they can preach. He has to clarify unlimited number of doubts, and he has to spread it across the globe. So many responsibilities are on him. So he has to be angry sometimes so that the message will sink in. If I smilingly say, laughingly say, if I joke at somebody, they will not get the message. This is Kali Yuga. In other ages, people could have understood, even nuanced talking. But in today's world, you have to call a spade if at all people should understand. That is the situation. So henceforth, if I say things like Prabhupada was upset, Prabhupada was afraid, Prabhupada was angry, Prabhupada shouted, Prabhupada felt insulted, if I use words like this, you know how to interpret them. You will not come to a conclusion, oh, Prabhupada is ordinary man like us only. Please don't make that mistake, because every time if I stop to say this, the flow will be interrupted, and also we will not have time, right? So Srila Prabhupada is seeing all these strange occurrences, and he is afraid that the institution is under threat or his position is being minimized. The position of the founder Acharya is being minimized. So he's worried about that. And then another thing Prabhupada had noticed was that his disciples were in India. You know, when Prabhupada returned, he had kept some disciples in India, and they were writing some letters to other disciples here in America. And the contents of this letter are disturbing. What kind of contents? Let us see some examples. They are talking about the title Prabhupada. Abhay Charanarinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. The disciples from India, they are writing, Srila Prabhupada's disciples, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's disciples are telling us that the title Prabhupada applies to him only. That is the Guru of Srila Prabhupada. Only he is called Prabhupada. No one else can take that title. Everyone else should be called by other names. Like they said, because Srila Prabhupada is a sannyasi, you can call him Swami Maharaja, not Prabhupada. Using the name Prabhupada is an insult to our Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Like that they are telling. So these disciples are writing, see, we understand that actually calling Prabhupada is wrong. Our Guru is not Prabhupada. He must be called Swami Maharaja. These Prabhupada's, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati disciples are telling us like that. And then they also said, Prabhupada is not the only spiritual master. We can have other spiritual masters also. In some letters they are writing. These devotees in these God brothers of Prabhupada, they are telling us, your Guru is not the only spiritual master. We are also spiritual masters. There are other spiritual masters also. And if you want to learn more, then you should come to us. Your Prabhupada is not teaching you everything. Actually, he has given you very basic things. Much more is there. We can show you Krishna. We can show your true form, your true identity, your Siddha Deha. We will give you some special mantras by which you will know who you are in the spiritual world. And you can directly serve Krishna right away. Like that they are telling. So these devotees are writing about that also. And then they say we have to read Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's books also. Because Prabhupada has not told us anything, not much. Other things if we have to know, we cannot wait. We should start reading Saraswati Thakur's books. So this kind of poison is coming from India. And who is creating this poison? God brothers of Srila Prabhupada. God brothers of Srila Prabhupada. Who are running other Gaudiya Math temples. Right? Gaudiya Math has broken up after the disappearance of Saraswati Thakur. And each temple has become an independent Math. And they have their gurus who are all God brothers of Srila Prabhupada. And they are spreading this poison. Once again, I want to repeat a warning I had told you in an earlier session. We should never think ill or speak ill of Srila Prabhupada's God brothers. They are as senior as Srila Prabhupada. And they are the disciples of Saraswati Thakur, very advanced devotees. In Prabhupada's own words, they are highly realized souls. They are not only revealing them, they have very deep realizations. Don't ever think ill of my God brothers. And Prabhupada also said, but don't deal with them. Don't go close to them. Don't hear from them. Don't read their books. All these warnings Prabhupada. But still, these devotees in India, they are perhaps feeling separation from Srila Prabhupada. So they are going to the God brothers, and God brothers are sowing poison. So again, the way to look at it is, can anyone suggest how to look at this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. As Krishna's plans and arrangements, Prabhuji.
Correct. That's it. Krishna's plans can never be understood. How Krishna will do anything, we don't understand. But one thing we can safely say is, he's bringing out the glories of Srila Prabhupada. Krishna is orchestrating all this to bring out the glories of Srila Prabhupada. In one way or the other, Krishna wants to glorify his devotees. We can leave it there, we cannot understand more than this. These are all pastimes. So we should never enter into offensive mentality. Oh, they did not cooperate with Prabhupada. See here, one more thing. Prabhupada wanted to buy land in Mayapur, and he approached his God brothers. But the God brothers never extended any cooperation. They rather did not want iskcon to get land in Mayapur. One more nail on the head. But still, after all this, we should look at it as a leela, nothing more than that. So that no poison, there is sufficient poison already inside all of us. We are living in Kali Yuga. We are experiencing all kinds of negative influences all around us. There is total distrust everywhere. No one trusts anyone. In this situation, we have enough poison. Let us not add to that poison. So as we hear these stories, let us look for purification, not for further contamination. Let us be very careful on this. So Prabhupada thought all these remarks as dangerous for iskcon. IskCon can be greatly damaged if these ideas go unchallenged. What is the idea? That spiritual master, you can have many spiritual masters. Your Prabhupada is not special. If you want to know more, you come to us, or you read Saraswati Thakur's books. Your Guru has not told you everything. Only with those information, you can never get Krishna Prema. And these ideas, if devotees are accepting, then they will lose respect for the spiritual master. When you lose respect for the spiritual master, your spiritual life is over and done with. That's all. It will go to sleep. After how many lifetimes it will wake up, we don't know. So, to see the spiritual master in relative terms is a big, big offense. Spiritual master should be treated on equal level with Krishna. So that's what. So Prabhupada thinks if these ideas go unchallenged, it will destroy all that has been created. At least the spiritual life of those who have this idea will be ruined. Yes, so that is what we have to remember. But Prabhupada knows that his own disciples are not malicious people. They have ignorance and they have eagerness to know more. And there is impatience. Impatience comes, I want to know more. So supposing somebody can give me more, Prabhupada is only telling, you are not the body. If you hear Prabhupada's lectures, you are not the body. You are a spirit soul. How many times you have heard? How many of you are listening to Prabhupada regularly, by the way?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
No, you told me to listen daily, Prabhuji, but I miss many days, Prabhuji. Whenever I feel like only I'm doing Prabhuji, I have to admit. But many days I listen, Prabhuji. Small, short lectures I hear, Prabhuji.
Thank you. What about others?
Even I'm hearing Vanipedia, Prabhuji, Prabhupada's Vanipedia.
You hear
Short
his
we hear
voice?
Prabhuji.
You hear his voice, Mataji?
Vani PDF, short videos, Mataji, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Short audio, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Short
yeah.
audios.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. So others?
Shorts I hear Prabhuji regularly, but once in a while iskcon Chennai is when they
Every Wednesday.
that I listen Prabhuji.
Me too, Prabhuji. Shorts every day I hear, Prabhuji. That is like, it brings me from Maya again to the ISKCON. It's like that, Prabhuji.
See, dear,
Yes, Prabhuji. Even I too hear at times, Prabhuji, and whenever I get time, but I read Prabhupada's book regularly, Prabhuji. How
Yeah.
much, I don't know what percentage goes into my conscious. I do not know. I always pray to him that it should penetrate deep into my heart. So
yeah,
I
please
go
continue
read.
to read, but
Yeah.
why you want to miss this nectar of Prabhupada's directly voice going into your ears?
Prabhupada, the lectures actually, Prabhuji, it happens that you are entangled in this material, something or the other, somebody pops in or something happens. So I feel Atiti Devo Bhava. So so I always put everything in Krishna's side, and then
I should not judge you, because just now I said we should not judge other devotees. But still, I will strongly recommend that something you have to cut it out to incorporate Prabhupada's lectures into your daily life.
Sure, Prabhuji.
We
Sure.
should hear for our own nourishment.
Need your blessings and Acharya's blessings, Prabhuji, that I should be regular. In between, I was very regular listening to his lectures, but now it's a break. Sometimes I feel really guilty, but what to do? But I
Not
make it a
enough.
point every.
Feeling guilty is not enough. Feeling guilty may take you further away from Prabhupada.
Oh.
Feeling guilty is not a solution. You have to do it themselves.
But I make it a point that I should read his write-ups or whatever it is, his books. I do read, Prabhuji. That I make it a point every day.
You
Every
should
day
read. I'm not saying you should not read or no, reduce your reading. I'm not saying, but you should hear.
But listening, listening. Even in the schools, we say first listening is very important. But as teachers, we tell generally listening is more important than other things.
Yeah,
so,
but what I am saying is Prabhupada's voice is a transcendental voice.
Yeah, 100% Prabhuji, that gives a real solace when you listen to his voice. You feel he's always there with you, guiding you and all. But I'm seeing since last 10, 15 days, I'm not being regular with it. So I feel little upset.
Now I want to say a few words for how much grateful we should be to Srila Prabhupada. I am just showing a book. Maybe you cannot see the title. I will read the title. My son bought this book and gave it to me, and I am trying to read. This is called Digital Madness. Digital Madness is the title of this book. It's not a devotional book. Digital Madness. It says on the cover, how social media is driving our mental health crisis and how to restore our sanity. A book written by a psychologist by name Nicholas Kardaras, PhD. He has also written a book called Glow Kids. So this book I am reading, it's riveting reading because it tells me how Prabhupada saved my life. How Prabhupada saved my life. And how Prabhupada saved the lives of so many people who came to iskcon. We don't even understand what kind of a dangerous existence we are leading. How just a handful of people are manipulating us without our knowing. In fact, we are praising them, glorifying them, appreciating them for destroying our lives. We have caught into a vicious cycle, which is sucking us into a vortex of disaster. Such is the life we are leading now, without even understanding. Prabhupada has saved us. If you are reading Prabhupada's books for 1 hour, or if you are hearing Prabhupada's lecture for 1 hour, those 2 hours, you have taken it away from your digital madness, which could have destroyed you. Every minute you give to the Google or Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp or Twitter, destroying you. Very amazingly, this book talks about how many teenagers are committing suicide successfully, and so many more are doing unsuccessfully. Many people are cutting their own limbs and trying to shed blood. Many of them are depressed. Many of them are maniac. Many of them have bipolar disorders. And they are all leading empty lives, not one or two. The number is huge. This comes with a statistic, something like 85% of the people have been affected by this digital madness. Badly. That you don't see the reality at all. You are living in a make-believe world. And this book further discusses what is called a VR box. Has anyone heard of this VR box or used it? No one?
No, Prabhuji.
No,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you. Thank you. Never get it, never use it. VR stands for virtual reality. It creates a shadow reality and you live it, you believe it. For example, in a cow farm where they are keeping the cows in tightly packed situation and they are used only to eat and milk, just like they grow chicken. They go on eating and they go on giving eggs. Like that, they use the cows like that. But then they realized because this atmosphere is so dreary, so negative, the milk yield of the cow goes down. So what they did, they put a VR box on the cow's eyes. Now when the cow opens its eyes, what it will see, green pasture grounds, 3D effect, pasture grounds. It will see other cows walking on the green fields and it will imagine that it is itself in a green pasturing ground, happily, lazily eating grass, even though the reality is not like that. It's a virtual reality. By that, they increase the milk production of the cow. See what kind of humanity we have. We have become so cruel that we are creating an illusion to exploit. Then this author says it is not only for the cows. Same thing is happening to human beings. And this Mark Zuckerberg, who is the founder of Facebook, etc., he is saying, I am born to give this virtual reality glasses to everyone. You have seen him, no? Wearing dark Ray-Ban glasses. This Mark Zuckerberg, he may be about 40 years old now. As a teenager, he established Facebook, I think. He's one of the wealthiest people in the world. Wealthier than many kings and emperors. He's wealthier than that. And what he wants to do, he wants everyone in the world to wear a VR box. And he wants to interconnect everyone in a virtual world. You will have an avatar inside that virtual box. So that avatar will represent you. Whatever you want to do, that avatar will do. And there will be interconnection. So he wants to shift all of us to another universe called metaverse. So you see now Facebook is written as meta, right? You see in WhatsApp or some other meta. So he wants to create a new universe which is virtual. And he will put us all there and then he will completely control our minds. What you should like, what you should not like, everything will be taught to us. Who you should vote for, which brand you should buy, everything will be dictated to us and we will not even know. So this is the direction in which the world is growing. There are very, very interesting chapters, terrible chapters. I was so much depressed to see what is happening to our children. They are playing with the future of children. Millions of children are being ruined like this. They simply don't know what to do with their lives. And there is something called influencer. Have you heard this term, influencer?
Yes, Prabhuji. Our kids used to be telling that word every time, Prabhuji. How they influence people. They say, Prabhuji, through
YouTube
Instagram and many.
Yeah. See, influencer is simply a person who has got millions of followers. Whether it is in Instagram or Facebook or whatever, they have in the virtual reality world, they have many followers. They begin to influence others. And these people don't have any talents. These influencers have no talents. They are simply a creation of the media. And others want to be like them. And so the book says, in a survey, what they made with many students, most of them, they were asked, do you want to become a doctor or an engineer or an astronaut or all these exciting things? or you want to become a YouTuber. 90% of them chose YouTuber. They did not choose other things. So this is the way the world is running. Please believe me, Prabhupada saved us. There is no way we can express our gratitude fully to him. We are extremely, extremely fortunate in this such a negative world of Kali. Prabhupada has come and saved us. In fact, whenever we hear the word Prabhupada being mentioned, tears must flow from our eyes. Unfortunately, we are not able to appreciate it enough. Our heart is so hard, like a rock, that we don't feel that gratitude. To hear how much Prabhupada has struggled to give this to us. Now it is so cheaply available. I can go to the temple and pick up a book and start reading, or may not read. I may throw it in a corner of my room. Whenever I feel like, I will pick it up. This is a sign of our lack of gratitude, our lack of appreciation first. What Srila Prabhupada has given for us. In fact, we have only two choices. Either you have Prabhupada or you have oblivion. Repeated life and death in this hopeless world, and further sinking. It looks like there are only these two options. Either you take to serious spiritual life, which only Prabhupada is offering, or without serious spiritual life, our lives are completely ruined. These are the two options. So why I am saying this is, please, all of you, I request you to please try and appreciate what we have received. It's not possible for us to appreciate fully, but the more we appreciate, more grateful we will become. And the more grateful we are, more advancement we will make, more happy and cheerful we will be in the moment, and more compassionate we will become towards others, and more effective our preaching will become whenever we do it. There will be no envy in our heart. Until envy and pride are removed from our heart, we are not good preachers. But we should preach. This is an instruction, this is an order from our Guru also. We must preach. But at the same time, we should try to become free from pride and envy. And we should develop the spirit of gratitude in all of us. And that will only carry us forward. So Srila Prabhupada is very sensitive to any threat to iskcon. So that he accepted the title Prabhupada, it is again to protect the movement, because he knows his other God brothers will try and come and take over. So Prabhupada wants to protect the institution. So you see here what I am writing. He accepted the title Prabhupada, and he is teaching the disciples, don't jump over my head by listening to other God brothers. Don't do this. So this instruction, but unfortunately, the Indian disciples are breaking this rule, what Prabhupada has given. So whatever the mistakes Prabhupada has noticed so far in America, he's thinking that it is because of the influence of the Indian disciples, who are in turn influenced by his God brothers. So he's now trying to protect iskcon from these influences. So whenever someone talks about spiritual master in a relative way, that is a work of Maya. Just as Krishna is absolute, spiritual master is also absolute. We should realize that. So this disease has come. This is weakening the faith of some disciples. And because of that, the blunders are happening. The books are not being printed properly. Prabhupada's name is not printed properly. Somebody is not chanting the rounds, and somebody is not reading Prabhupada's books. All these things. So Karandara, who was in LA at that time, he's saying, these events hampered the writing of Srila Prabhupada. See, Prabhupada, writing is so dear to him. Midnight, 12 o'clock, Prabhupada wakes up and starts translation. Even if he went to bed at 11 o'clock due to long, late meetings, still he would wake up at 12 o'clock, because translating is an obsession with Prabhupada, because he doesn't know how much time he will live. So he has to finish so much. So, but what happened? Slowly, translation completely stopped. Prabhupada is worrying more and more about how to solve this problem. So he's spending more time talking to visiting devotees, asking them what is happening in your center, what kind of problems are being faced, and trying to find a solution to the problems. But other routines of Prabhupada continued. He continued to write letters to various temples and give guidance. He was writing to his disciples. All this was going on. He also wrote letters to Gurudasa and Tamal Krishna. One or two points I will mention from these letters. Gurudasa wrote that in the London temple, one devotee from India came. He was not an iskcon devotee. He was a Mr. Parikh, known to Prabhupada. He is famous for giving lectures and all. So Gurudasa said, we asked him to give a lecture from Vyasasan Bhagavatam class. Prabhupada strongly criticized him. You should not do that because he's not in our parampara. Only people who believe in our parampara message, who are coming in the parampara system, can occupy that seat. And he's not my disciple. How can you make him sit there? Never do this again. And he further wrote, that person is known to be a sympathizer of Aurobindo and Mother. So his ideas are impersonal. How can you allow him to sit on the Vyasasana? So Prabhupada said, be very, very careful that strictly follow the parampara system. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he had written at that time some questions to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is replying. Some of the replies I will mention here. Prabhupada asked, why you want to know about my past life? Does it matter? Will it make a difference? For example, Narada Muni was a servant maid's son, but then he became spiritual master for the whole world. So why should you know about my past life? And if by knowing it, will you lose faith in me? Will it determine whether you accept me as spiritual master or not? This is not the qualification for a spiritual master. Then Prabhupada added, but for your information, when I was young, a very advanced astrologer visited our house, and looking at my horoscope, he said, in my past life, I was a physician and I was a sinless one. So you can see in this life, I was born in a devotee family. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, advanced Vaishnava, advanced devotees, advanced yogis will be given birth in devotee families. Prabhupada said, not only I was in a devotee family, but I also grew up in aristocratic families. But even though I had every opportunity to break all the regulative principles, I never did that. And as much as I can remember, I have never forgotten Krishna. All these things Prabhupada wrote to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. There are a few more points also. But this much points we should keep in our heart, that spiritual master should not be approached like an ordinary human being. So that's very, very important. So Srila Prabhupada also thought that some of his disciples are trying to gain control of iskcon, going over the head of Prabhupada, because somebody is guiding them. Take over iskcon. Don't give importance to Prabhupada. He has given you this movement, but you have built it up. Take control. So Prabhupada thought that some disciples are also trying to, behind his back, trying to take control. All these things Prabhupada spoke only indirectly in his classes. So most of the devotees were not even aware what is going on. And Prabhupada did not want to trouble them with these worries. The more neophyte, ordinary devotees, in fact, even in this forum, as we are discussing, I am a little concerned that what I speak should not be misconstrued or wrongly understood. So whenever you have doubts, please feel free to ask me. So Prabhupada is not addressing this issue to everyone. Why everyone should know? They need not even know. Like in Bhakti Vriksha groups, when we used to meet regularly, sometimes people used to ask me about Bangalore. What is going on in Bangalore? Madhu Pandit Das is giving some classes. Should we go there? They are talking some different philosophy. I never said, I only, when somebody posted something from that group, I said, please don't post it here. Apart from that, I did not, because there is no need to shake the faith of people. So what is important here, Prabhupada also did not shake the faith of people, because the moment they come to know some of Prabhupada's disciples are talking wrong things, then they may start doubting everybody. They may start doubting Prabhupada also. So most devotees were in the dark about what is going on. But more serious disciples whom Prabhupada trusted, he spoke to them about these things. So Prabhupada wanted at this point of time, the disciples should manage iskcon. Prabhupada wanted to become free from management so that he can dedicate to writing. So he wanted disciples to manage. Then he will focus on writing the book. But before that, they should become pure. Otherwise, how to hand over management to them? Okay, so I think our time is up. We will continue from here in our next class. If you have any points to make, if you want to ask any doubts, you can ask now. Then we will close the session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I just wanted to share one experience, Prabhuji. I had, by Krishna's mercy and Prabhupada's mercy, was able to participate in the Ratha Yatra. In fact, my first, gathering with devotees in such a big event was that, Prabhuji. I had the opportunity to hold the rope also, Prabhuji. And like both of us, myself and Sumati Mataji, both of us together, we were saying we are able to relate everything to Leelamrit, no? Prabhupada sitting in the front, and I was thinking, like, even if I had an opportunity to pull the cart in Puri, I don't know if I'll be so happy seeing Prabhupada sitting in the front. Well, voice was choking, Prabhuji, when we were chanting the Hare Krishna mantra louder with all the devotees, and tears were flowing only with gratitude, Prabhuji. I really, really thank Prabhupada, and you also, Prabhuji, to give us all this Leelamrit. Otherwise, simply Radha Yatra, it is, I don't know how much it would have had that impact. But we both of us together, we said immediately, thinking of Leelamrit, no? So everything that happened, for me, it was too much of an excitement because this is the first time I got an opportunity, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And I, as you said, how much we should thank Prabhupada. What we are doing is nothing, not even 0.0001%, Prabhuji, for what he has given us. So I just pray, like, all of us should progress in bhakti without any hindrances, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpataru